Hmm? Hmm. Waiting for the clock. It struck. Yeah. Near enough. Near enough. Okay, well, it is 7 o'clock, so why is this feeding back?
Is it?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
We'll have to make it do, won't we? Can I welcome you all to the April meeting of the FES? Have we any apologies?
Just apologies from Councillor Cornish.
Yeah, okay. Moving on then to item 3, declarations of interest. Has anyone got any declarations? No. On the exclusion of the public, it just applies to the last item. Which is,
Minutes, yeah.
I am, aren't I? Yeah. Item 4, the minutes of the last meeting. Any comments on those minutes? No. Those in favour? Thank you. Item 5, public forum. Have you put your name down? Speaker, Nisa. Yeah.
Yes.
I think you did, yeah.
Yeah, you just press them. So I just wanted to come to the meeting tonight with regards to some emails between Gina and I. So I'd reached out to Gina to ask her about the entertainment licence that we have in the town centre. So I've had quite a lot of emails from various businesses, obviously as the bid manager, receiving those emails, basically saying that the high street is incredibly quiet versus same time last year. Normally it picks up in March a little bit. I've had several businesses say how quiet it's been. So I thought Colne always does well when we have events. And I know none of us want to organise an event every Saturday and we don't have the resource, we don't have the money to do that. And I thought, what's a quick way of making the town centre feel like there's something actually happening? And I thought, buskers, entertainment, live music, performances, that sort of thing always goes down really well. I think when you're driving past it, it encourages people to stop off. And I think when there's some music on, it just sort of adds to the atmosphere of the town centre. So the reason I wanted to speak tonight was with regards to that licence and just to flag it really, to see if it's something that we could promote. And obviously we can do like an application process with applying for different, for different performers applying for performing in the town centre and that sort of thing. I just wanted to flag it just to see if the town council would be able to help us out with that, because I think it's a really nice thing to do and really would support the businesses during a quiet time. Thank you.
Does anyone any comments on that?
Presumably this is related to item 12.
So we were actually waiting for some additional information. So we're actually going to postpone that item but to a future meeting. But obviously it's good to hear Anissa's side to find out where she's coming from, why they're asking.
So Chair, I take it then that we haven't got enough information to make the decision tonight, but we could say, subject to dotting I's, get the right way around, dotting I's and crossing T's. We may be able to sorry, I'm struggling today. We may be able to accommodate it, as I say, once we know the legalities and what have you.
I think obviously we have a license at the moment and there are certain conditions attached to that.
which if anyone who was applying to do anything in the town centre would have to adhere to that as well. So that would have to be part of the application process. But I think the idea is to try and make it simpler, I think, for the I mean, generally musicians and entertainers probably don't want to get bogged down in all the paperwork, they just want to go out and perform. So it's trying to think of a way that will make it easier for them. The only problem is there are still things that they do need to adhere to. So they have to have their own insurance and things like that. And if they've got a team, people have to be DBS checked and things like that. So there are certain things that they would still have to do. But it's worth looking at just to see if you know, if we can encourage more people to come to the town to perform and ultimately though the thing is, if we were concerned that maybe if someone was doing an event in the town and it was on a weekend when we weren't working, that we would have to be present. Now I've spoken to licensing at Pendle and they've confirmed that that's not the case. A member of Colne Town Council, just because we're the license holder, would not have to be at the event, but we have to be confident that we know that there is a competent person and a responsible person looking after that event. Because ultimately, if anything does go wrong, it does come back on us.
David?
Just a quick one. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. It does bring the town to life. We know what happens when you have an event in town and you get all those bands up and down the high street. I'm assuming, does our license cover like the entire Albert Road, Hartley Square sort of area?
It is pretty much up to the top traffic lights, yeah.
Musicians and the like, we could do other entertainers, you know, jugglers or magicians or something like that. So you could do any sort of entertainment that bangs well. And in a way, as you say, the administration of it needs to be nice and simple. So whether the bid does something or whether we do something, as you say, it's got to be a nice and simple thing, as in, have you done your risk assessment? Have you got your insurance in place? Tick, 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 there you go. And we could even help them especially if they're starting off. I remember when we started off those nursery markets, there were people with their hobbies and we'd let them have a gazebo for 15 quid or something. And, you know, it's a case of, well, they'd never done it before. So you're just sort of helping people there. And I suppose we could use it as a scouting opportunity for people that we like, book them again in the future. So, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I think you may get quite a few community groups doing like community events and things like that. You know, so I think it could be good to encourage people to, you know, because if they've not done anything like that before, it's going to be a bit daunting for them. So.
Right.
Do you have to get an entertainment's license for each event, or do you get it for 12 months? Or
we have it. We have to renew it every year. But normally, if anyone else wants to do anything in the town, they have to apply for a temporary events notice themselves, because obviously we don't just allow, you can't open a license up just for anyone, so it would have to be policed in that sense.
I suppose with that, as well as potentially a council officer or potentially somebody from the bid board or whatever, you could also have potentially the shopkeeper who they're outside, working outside of. They could be a responsible person for the day. And yeah. So in terms of the information you're waiting for, which is why we're postponing it, what?
It's just more for the kind of legal element and anything that we may need to put. Making sure that we've got everything covered in the application form, and we know that nothing's going to come back and bite us. So yeah,
I suppose, especially if our name's on the paper or your name's on the paper. Yeah, we get that right. So we could have a busker outside your prison cell if you like. I don't know. But yeah, I think if we, you know, I think there's general mood to do this thing. So let's hope we get the right answers from the legal people or whatever, and or insurance people or whatever and see what we can do. Sounds good.
I think it is something we can make work. The only thing we'll have to watch is, and I think it's fairly obvious to us, and we'll have to make sure it's fairly obvious to everyone who takes part in it as well, is the fact that we have the license of Pendle, and there are certain conditions in that license we have to adhere to, and we'll just have to be sure that everyone who is taking part in it is aware of all those conditions, because they'll have to apply to them as well, the conditions. Otherwise, it's our license that's on the line, and we wouldn't want to, at the end of one of the, 1 year session on the license, when it's up for renewal, we wouldn't want to be in a position where we couldn't have it renewed, because that'd scupper everything. All the events throughout the year and all sorts. It'd make a general mess of everything. But I think it's something we can make work.
Obviously, the main reason why we got the license was for the Blues Festival. So if we couldn't do that, then. Mhm.
So the suggestion was going to be that, I'll bring Jonathan in a minute. The suggestion was going to be that we get the extra information, from about the legalities of it, that Gina gets those and brings it back to another meeting. Jonathan.
I was just going to ask who would organise the buskers? Would that be bid? Yeah. So you've obviously already got the contacts, the people who sing, etc. Like a contacts list of various buskers. Right. Oh, yeah, great idea. Yeah. Sad to hear that you're getting feedback that it's quiet though. Well, that's by the bar. Different day, that I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, they probably would need a risk assessment, but if we can have like a template or something that is already set out so they know what to include, and then they just fill in what's relevant to them, then I think that will make it easier.
I mean, to me, a busker's a busker. Once you've got a risk assessment for a busker, it'd probably do for most buskers. Just by changing a few names around, I don't think there'd be much to do at it. Yeah.
The question. Obviously, we don't pay them. Are you proposing to pay them, or we just let them pass the hat round, as it were? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, flexible.
What do you mean by that? What, like a guitar case in front of them for coins?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or a big hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they want the exposure, don't they? I don't think they get a chance to play a lot these days, because a lot of people don't have live music on like they used to. So it's a platform for them to showcase, isn't it? So.
Right.
Do we not have a template for buskers that come to balloons for risk assessment?
We might have something. So that's something to look at to see if we can just tweak it a little for this purpose.
The other one.
Do you want to bring that forward?
Well, if we don't, we'll go for a proposal to her and either accepted or not, and they're in another meeting before the event.
I'll suggest that. Just say sufficiency.
Yeah.
So it's yeah, that's good.
Whilst Anissa is here, can we bring, which one is it?
Item 11,
Isn't that's Town Road?
town decoration. Are you looking at the minutes?
Oh. Can we bring item 11 forward, because it affects you in a sense, Anissa, and this particular event is before our next meeting. And if we were minded to do something or suggest doing something in partnership, if you are not here and you had gone and we're not able to say, yeah, that's probably all right with the bid, or it isn't all right with the bid, we wouldn't be able to go anywhere until the next meeting, which would unfortunately be after the event. So can we bring, are we all happy with bringing 11 forward?
I actually just had one question on item 11. I think it's a good idea. We should do it. Let's decorate the town, etc. Sarah mentioned to me that when we did VE Day, we bought loads of cloth bunting so it would last, and it could be stored somewhere in the building.
We do have some, but it's not enough to no.
No, it's before the next FES. And if you leave it to the next full council meeting, which is
2 weeks.
2 weeks today, which is the 18th, there isn't a lot of time left between the 18th to go out and buy what we may need to go out and buy, because everyone else and his dog all over the country will be going out buying it as well. Yeah. It doesn't leave the next, if you leave it till full council in 2 weeks, all I'm saying is it doesn't leave a lot of time to say yes or no, and then someone can go ahead and go and buy this stuff.
Yeah,
Well, you never know, do you?
maybe.
So what exactly is the proposal, Gina? What do we need, and who is going to pay for what, and who is going to be responsible for what? And I think that's what we've got to agree on if we're going to agree.
Well, the proposal that's been put forward is that we will decorate the town sort of from here upwards, where there is places to hold flagpoles. We were going to put, and there's quite a few on either side of the buildings going up into town. We're going to put flags up, and then we were going to put bunting in between the flags, sort of all the way up to the town centre. But we did want to get fabric, good quality bunting, because the stuff we got last year I don't think was very good. So yeah. So the proposal that was put forward, the bid have said that they would pay for 50% of the decorations. And then I think it was for us to pay the other 50%, but also to install and remove the decorations as well.
Do we know how much bunting is per?
It's in the report.
We better say yard, as it's almost imperial. For me, well.
When we looked, they were both the same, and I think Nathan had brought out the rectangular ones, but I prefer the usual triangle bunting. I think it looks better. I think we estimated what we might need, and I think the price came to, it's whatever is on that report. So it's about £250 plus VAT for the amount that we think we need. That was for the bunting, and then it was £500 for the flags that we need as well.
And that assumes we use the stuff in the cellar. That assumes we use the hundreds of meters we got in the cellar.
That's with that.
Right,
as well,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sounds a good idea to me. We've got
So we're saying what, it's £850 in total and bidder paying half of it.
It's £750, yeah.
I can't add up then. Eh?
Call
£375.
it 400 quid each and we've paid for postage.
The only thing is we didn't have money in the events budget to cover that, but that's the only, yeah.
Technically, we could get the two lensmen to put it up.
That was the idea.
The thing is there wouldn't be a budgetary cost to us for that, because if the lensmen are here on that day, they put it up, they would be working for us anyway, so they would still be to pay for that day. The only thing is that whatever they were supposed to be doing on that day would have the penalty of not being done, because they do that instead. Fortunately, it's before the watering season starts for the Colne Blue. So I think it could be managed.
Exactly, it doesn't have to be changed.
Had it have been in July or June when watering had started and the hot sunny
Might
weather out there,
struggle.
it might have been more of a problem sparing the lensman. But I don't think it's a problem then, because the flowers won't be there anyway, so they won't be watering.
We have already spoke to them about it, and they're more than willing to do it.
so timings. Are we thinking of putting it up on Wednesday, Thursday-ish before, say, or and how long do we leave it up for?
Well, we'd probably leave it up for at least a week, I would have thought. So there's no point all that effort and putting it up and then taking it down straight away. So yeah.
If we go halves and get on with it.
So that's all okay from your angle from the bid? That's okay with 400 quid each, and we'll put it up.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine from our perspective. Nathan got in touch and asked me about it, and that sits very nicely under our Pride objective as part of our business plan. So we're happy to fund 50% as per what you agree this evening. So thank you very much for collaborating with us on that.
Okay. So can we just say all those in favour and then? Right. Thank you. Done and dusted.
No, you can go. Thank you.
Can I just add, Chair, if we've got bunted in there and it's no good, can we dump it?
It is some good. We're going to use that as well.
Oh, well, right, okay.
We did get some last year, but no, the stuff we got last year ended up getting destroyed and binned. So yeah. No, we did use the fabric stuff actually inside the town hall last year.
Okay, to what I was saying before, when I jumped the gun and missed the minutes, item 6, the exclusion of the public, just applies to item N, which is a staffing item right at the end of the agenda. Okay. Moving on then, item 7, financial update. It's A, B and C. We can take all three together if you wish.
I would just point out, obviously, some items that you may have noticed on the which you're probably aware of. They've been there for a while. Just to on the detailed analysis, you will see that there's quite a few gone over budget. So I just wanted to explain those. The majority of them are prepayments at the moment, so obviously they will be journaled out for the actual year-end accounts. The only ones that aren't that case is salaries, which we actually budgeted only for a 3% increase, and obviously the one that came through from the joint councils was more than 3%, so that's what's caused that. Primet Community Centre, we have or we are having to replace the heating system in Primet, so that's one that's gone over budget there. And I think, yeah, I think that's it. The rest are actually prepayments. So you will see at the bottom of the income and expenditure that it's now a minus figure, which basically shows you that so it's actually minus 33,847, which that reflects the money that we've taken from earmark reserves and put into the revenue budget throughout the year. So we have actually put a lot more than that in, but it's only that because we haven't done the CCTV project hasn't gone ahead because they can't get the stock, and there's other committed thing, mainly CCTV, to be honest, that hasn't been done yet. That we did think it would be done before the end of the year.
Are there any questions up to now?
I was just going to, so that detail schedule then doesn't agree to that, and does it?
It does. I mean, there's only a couple of budgets that have gone over completely. So on the detailed, it's just certain elements that have gone over. But I will say the town hall budget has gone over, because obviously if you take that 800,000 out, it shows that we have spent quite a lot on repairs and maintenance as well. Anyway, yeah. So there's only, I think, the council governance, I think, but that's mainly because it's mainly salaries in the council governance budget cost centre. So that's why that's gone over. But yeah.
So you mentioned that the bottom number in that second column is now minus 30 odd. But you're going to take some stuff out there to prepay it, are you saying?
Basically, that 33,000 is currently sat in general reserves, because when you take it out of an earmark reserve, we transfer it to the general reserve, and then we via the budget into the current year. So because it's just budget and not actual, it stays in the general reserve until it's spent. The fact that we haven't done the CCTV project means that it's still stuck in the general reserves, basically. So this, at the moment, will only be taking the 33,000 out of the general reserves, whereas we would have been taking 90,000 out of the general reserves. Or in fact, that's actually 151,500. If you look on the budget summary, that's what we've taken out of earmark reserves during the year. So we've actually, because a lot of it hasn't been spent, we're only taking 33,000 out of that rather than the full 151,000. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I was pleased to see that, as you say, there's one or two of those things have been lingering a bit, but as you say, there are reasons why, and that's fine. I'm presuming when it comes to the next meeting, we're going to have a sort of roundup summary of the whole year, and then we'll decide any other changes required for rolling things forward or not, as the case may be.
I think we have said that we only really want to roll anything forward that we have to roll forward, i.e. if there's an existing commitment in there. Previously we have rolled things over, like for repairs and maintenance or whatever, but I think because the budget's quite tight for next year and we don't know how much costs are going to go up. I mean, we've already seen instances where things have gone up more than we've thought, i.e. the insurance and other things. So it's likely that we're going to need it. So yeah, if we only roll over what we need to and put the rest back into the reserves, then.
The Primet heating, is it just knackered? Is that
Yeah.
technical word. And we're just going to replace it with what?
The order's gone in, I think, and we were just replacing the radiators and other things, but we have a water boiler there that we have, but I think they are replacing some of the other system as well. So it's it's actually in there, his commitment, it's about 3,000.
Add on balance sheet was just in the debtor number 13687. There's no troublesome ones in there. They're all fairly current, I think.
Yeah. They are mainly current. Although be for future events, I think a lot of them. So yeah.
So I'm happy overall. I'll move all three if you like.
That's seconded. No one else to speak, no? Those in favour then? Thank you. Item 8, 2023/24. Budget environments, grounds maintenance.
Yeah, so if you recall, because of the timing of the grounds maintenance contracts and the timing when we got them in, it was very close to budget time and setting the budget. So because I didn't have time to do a detailed analysis at that point, we got an overall figure of how much it had increased, and I basically just each line in the budgets that were for grounds maintenance, I just increased it by that amount, just to cover the overall amount, but knowing that the budget wasn't necessarily in the right cost center. But so this basically is the environment to put it where it needs to be. If I can find my, basically you've got yellow and like a mucky color. So the yellow ones were definite grounds maintenance codes. The other color is things that could be considered ground maintenance, but we had a little extra.
Chair, just sorry, we haven't got that. That never came.
What you mean is it's not been emailed out.
Did I not
No,
email it
hasn't.
out?
Held it
No, it
may have
doesn't.
come in pigeon post or
No,
alpaca post or whatever they get out.
On the website. Do you want me to print some copies off?
Well, for the benefit, it's pretty easy actually, because basically all the unders and overs add up to nothing, and we've got 100 grand or so there with a little bit of a comfort for the extra things we're paying for. So I move it as being absolutely easy peasy. Go for it.
I really. I thought I had.
I thought I'd missed it and was going to ring up and say, had you emailed it, but life intervened and I didn't get time.
I honestly thought we hadn't got it until I looked in back now, because I knew I hadn't got the email for it. But I assume you were doing a verbal one, you see.
Ah, right.
The verbal report is I've shuffled them round and they're all right.
Well,
Yeah, we have had to use some of the additional items towards the general grounds maintenance though. So because of that, we will have less to spend on ad hoc things, but we knew the budget were going to be tight anyway. So
costs for elections off Glendon. So that might be more.
not heard anything. So do we have a seconder? So we've got to move.
Seconded. Those in favour? don't think there's a right lot of option with it. Something's got to come off
It has
somewhere
to,
to go on
yeah.
somewhere else to make it all balance at the end of the day, so. Item 9. Allotment committee, block fee review. This is their response to the suggestion that we've got to give a year's notice to put the allotments up, and it's done in October of each year. So the suggestion was that it went up in October 2024, and this report is their response, and I don't think anyone's got that either, have they?
Have I not? Oh, I forgot to email stuff out. There is an advantage to getting paper copies.
So I had a look at this. So our proposal originally was to put them up from October 23. So you're saying we couldn't do that?
Well, you got to give a year's notice.
So we have to give a year's notice anyway.
Yes, and it goes up in October.
Right.
Anyway, annually.
So that explained why they suggested pushing it back to October 24. Okay. Now, of course, for those with memories, we said it should go from 36p to 40p, and they've come back and said 38p. Like split the difference type thing. I mean, before we clarified the 1 year thing, my suggestion was, well, do their thing this October and our thing the following October. But I think if we're waiting until October 24, we should just do our original recommendation of 36 up to 40p. We debated it long and hard last time, and we thought it was a small percentage, especially given the number of years involved. We know we had a bigger increase on those with the people that don't live in town, but there aren't any of those. So I think we should stick with our 40p. It's been benchmarked in the supporting papers just like it had done last time, and we look like we're, you know, there or thereabouts. There's one or two incentives here and there, one or two other councils, but they tend to not apply too much to ours anyway. So I think it's one of those ones whereby we've got a fair rate. There is still the table which shows how much we contribute overall to the allotments. So we've been running a deficit for several years, and we've had a big spend in this year, you know, quite a hefty deficit of over 24,000. And given our income from the 36p at the moment is only 9 grand, then that's a big amount of spending going on. So I suggest we stick with 40p with effect from 1st of October 24.
I did actually attend the allotments meeting. They were very reluctant to. Well, at the beginning, they didn't want to increase it at all. But then I said, well, if you don't want to increase, so it made it more difficult that there were 2 plot owners here at the same time, because they'd come for other items, and they were saying, well, we're still recovering from the last increase. So yeah. Yeah. But they did talk about levels of expenditure, etc. I said, well, if you're not considering increasing, then you have to reduce the amount you spend on the allotments. So then that didn't really go down well either. So I think they came to a conclusion that they would have to increase it, but then said, well, what about 2 pence rather than 4 pence? But they did also consider putting up key deposits and things like that, other things. I think the main reason was that we are cheaper than a lot of the other allotments in different areas. However, a lot of the other areas allow concessions for various different things, which we don't. So I think they thought in the long run we were probably just about at the right level compared to everyone else.
Was there any allotment holders there? 2?
What concessions do other people give that we don't?
I think it's mainly for whether it's for, I don't know, elderly people or, you know, like normal concessions and smaller, yeah. If it's just a smaller plot, you've got a discount on the rate per metre or square metre.
I still think we need to. What is the average size of the plot? I can't remember. Is it? No.
I mean, it says in the Eugene's report that, I mean, to be honest, it's not going to make that much of a dent in costs anyway, even the 4 pence. So.
You know, I move sticking to 4. Non-code resident one, taking this up to 50 votes. Both a year later, we originally voted, which is not so interesting. I think the spending we've been doing, table of spending shows the investment we're making in there. So that's what I found about it.
Yeah.
Oh, you voted. All those in favour? Any against? No. Item 10, recruitment update.
Right, so the position of contracts officer, this is obviously to replace Eugene when he retires. It's now advertised online and it's gone on social media and will be there till the end of April. We have had quite a lot of response actually. We've had about 30 inquiries. I have 5 applications, 5 people that have actually sent me the application form through. So yeah, it's yeah. It's definitely a mix. There are some younger ones and some people that are in completely different jobs at the moment. So yeah, but yeah. Yes, and then obviously we give ourselves a bit longer before we inform people, just with the elections and everything. And then I think we've said we'll let them know by the 12th. I think was it 12th of May or 11th of May, something along those lines. And we are expecting to do interviews week commencing the 22nd of May. Obviously, with being elections, we usually have people from FES on the panel, on the interview panel, and obviously committee members may change. So,
Just clarify again, what are we doing with the shortlisting? Because the shortlisting has got to be done at least a week before the interviews, because you've got to give people a week's notice because they may have to get off work where they're currently working, etc.
I think we'd said that to do the shortlisting, so have 2 officers and yourself as chair of FES at the time to do the shortlisting.
That would mean doing it before the 6th of May, because once we have the elections, until we have the full council, no one is on a committee and no one is technically chair of anything, because to all intents and purposes, the town council doesn't die after election day, but to all intents and purposes, no one has a specific role until it is given that role again to someone on the annual council, which is it the 18th,
17th.
17th. So we either need to do the shortlisting before election day. Well, no, I think that's pushing it. Or we have to delegate the shortlisting solely to officers.
I think the last day is Friday the 28th, so it's not right to the end of April.
Mm.
Yeah, but it just gives us a
Yeah.
couple of extra days.
Delegate it to officers, and there will be 17 members of the council, whoever they may be. So, you know, if they want advice from them, that can be then done, can't it?
Can do that. Yeah.
It's not,
No.
it's not rocket
But
science.
there won't be a specific person.
No,
that
no,
can do
it will be,
can't be done like
you know,
that.
members as,
The only other way is to delay the shortlisting and the interviews until after the annual council, which is going to make it even longer of a
yeah.
gap before we've got someone in place, which is even worse. I think we've got to.
I'll move, we delegate it to officers for the shortlisting, and they can then use their discretion to ask a couple of members to help, whoever they may be. Oh,
Yeah. It's just fallen at a bad time, hasn't it? But we are where we are, aren't we? Yeah. Okay. So now we've agreed that. Item 11 we have done. Item 12 we have done because it's coming back. So that's been deferred. Item 13, a SPID update.
Right, so I can now confirm that the SPIDs have been ordered. I have a proposed, well, expected delivery date of sort of early May. So they're currently the order is currently being processed. I have had confirmation from Trawden that they have an extra plate, which Adele has kindly taken a photo of. And I've also had word from them that the Trawden Parish Council are happy to pay their share of the costs if we put the SPIDs in their area. I don't know if you got my text earlier. Did you? And it wasn't there. Okay.
The Trawden one as well. I had Laneshire Bridge the other night as well, and they're happy to contribute as well. And they're very interested, of course, in the whole Keighley Road thing. They're actually thinking of doing some sort of partnership potentially with Cowling as well. Cowling are doing something on speeding as well. So I think they're sort of hoping to catch two ends of the cross-country sprint, as it were. So there's extra initiatives in the east there. So we'll see. But yeah, they're happy to do it. They're looking for plates as well. And then they're open to adding new ones as well if they think there's a particular hotspot. But yeah.
So yeah, the idea is we look at the existing ones we have and look at where we actually where we think the problems are and where we actually do need them, and see if there's any gaps that we would need to fill. If we need to do that, there is a longer lead time to get them up and running. Basically, a full site assessment will have to be done by Lancashire County Council. They will then assess if there is a lighting column that can be used, and then they have to test the lighting column to see if it's up to standard, and then obviously then you would need to purchase a backplate that would then be installed by LCC, and then Yeah, so it's quite a long process. So I think the sooner we identify those areas, the better, really. To try and, because if there is no lighting column available where you want them, you have to pay for a bespoke post to be put into place. So that is an additional cost.
Couple of points. How many did we actually order? And secondly, they just give you a smiley face. Did we get any support from the police at all?
They no, there wasn't really support. They will, obviously, if we provide the data, they will look at it, but it's obviously collating the data, etc. That you know we
That's what I'm getting at. We collect the data, and if we give it back to the police, they'll support us and maybe do it in Lancashire Bridge anyway, don't they, on a regular basis?
I can give you a quick update on that. We had, before Cone Area, we had the Crime Safety Partnership, Cone Safety Partnership meeting. We had a couple of police there, one of whom was particularly pleased he's now qualified to have blue flashing lights. He's not qualified to chase people though. Apparently that's a different qualification, to go in hot pursuit. So he can put the fear of God into people, and he can hide around corners and things like that and put blue flashing lights to slow people down. So I said to them, well, look, we had ordered the 3, Cone Area had freed up the money to do that, and we'd obviously pressed ahead with it. You got paid for it as well, didn't you? Yeah, good. So I said, well, look, what we'll do is we'll get the data from it. It'll be the usual bell curve of data with the super speeders at one end. And if we give that data to you, the police, then you can target your operations as appropriate. And they said, yes, they would. So yeah, it's good.
Just to report, because I had a look on Shaw Street, there is only the one that,
which really needs
which is the wrong direction. Now, whether it can be spun round, but there are lamp columns on both sides, so it's either been borrowed and weighed in, or it was never there.
The original list did say that there were 2 on Shaw Street, so I just presume that one's either been removed or is damaged, or yeah. But we have the money that we got from Cone Area also covered a laptop that we can use to run the software on and collate the data that way. It also covered the license fee, which we need in order to be able to put something on a lighting column. That's £70, and that lasts for 3 years before it needs to be renewed. And also 2 sessions from the guys at Altham to try them out. Now I'm wanting to get 2 locations for these sessions. So we got the funding for 2 sessions for Altham that would come and install it and then take it down. And obviously we can sort of work with them to get a feel of what we'll be doing when we get our own, or the lensman will be doing. So the idea was to we did get confirmation from LCC that we can use any existing columns without retesting the columns, because we did think that we might have to do that at one point. But they said they won't need to do a full test on the columns, but they will just need to do a desktop assessment of the area, just in case anything's changed that makes it not valid to put one up anymore. I don't know whether there's sides it's overgrown, or you can't see it, or anything like that. So the idea was to get I had an email from the guy at LCC who said he was getting on with the assessments, but then I thought if we can maybe just give him 2 locations that we want to use, and he can concentrate on those first, and then we can get in touch with Altham and see if we can get them up and running.
I would suggest one of the ones to do that is definitely within cone, which is all we can do until
Yeah, I think for the test.
there was at least 2 plates on Red Lane, and there's the school there, and people come hurtling down it quite regularly. So I think that should be one to start with, and possibly, I don't know, Byron Road. There was one, wasn't there?
We have traffic lights on Byron Road though recently. I don't know if they're still there.
They weren't, but they might be back.
Can I suggest Knott's Drive as well? People coming down from Deerwood Park, boy races.
Did we have any existing plates on Knott's? No, we didn't, did we? No, but that's that's obviously one of the locations that we would get assessed to see if we can put.
And another one is the South Valley onto Rodney. And I've seen police chase them on. It's only 20 mile an hour.
Yeah.
I've seen people doing 50.
Yeah.
I don't know they were doing 50, but police told him they were doing 49s. And
Which the is actually traffic. Put it that way. Speed all the way east.
I could ask the question if they're able to turn it the other way around.
They can't turn it round on a lamppost. They can put one on the other side of the road. I think, from what I remember, LCC are reluctant to turn it round onto the other side of the lamp because it would then technically end up on the wrong side of the road.
I've seen spids on by Millennium
Yeah.
Green as I've been going towards Rodney, and it's frowned at me.
So you're the one that.
It was just a joke.
I'm forever doing it on my push bar.
One that is on Shore Street, he's on this side of the road, the north side of the road. So, but it's for traffic going. I'm sure it said it was for traffic going west.
So technically, it's not wrong side. Anyway.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, maybe.
Can I just summarise and say I'm very pleased we finally got here with these. Having been pursuing these for a year within the speed limit, pursuing them within the speed limit for a year or so. We finally got LCC on board. We got the police interested. We've got a council that will do it. Excellent. And we're going to roll them out and make the streets a little safer.
Just going back to the police, I can't see any reason why the police wouldn't cooperate, because if we can give them a list of appropriate places, which we will be able to do, of where if they go with the radar gun and start pointing it at people, they're likely to be able to fill the money bags up quicker. They will do it. I've no doubt.
It's quite good timings actually, because he said that what they've been doing was they've been doing a bit of surveillance in areas and doing some education of people, and therefore when these start to appear over the next 3, 6, 12 months or so, then there'll be we told you, and now it's a case of actually prosecuting people. So yeah, okay.
If we want somewhere else in Cong for trial, another possibility could be, and I think there's one going down by King George's, isn't there? Because there is quite a lot of speeding down there, particularly between the stretch from sort of bottom of Castle Road to end of Varley Street. Quite a lot of traffic speeds going down there, and that might be an appropriate place, I don't know. And I'm sure there is one on list down there. Yeah. So are we okay with that one then? Castle Road intake allotment transfer.
Yeah, if you can recall from the last time it came to FES, there was a section which was 3.9, which stated that we were to maintain the heraldic panels at our cost. Yeah, so we just wanted to clarify that. I have got a response from Pendle. And they basically they think that they've put this in the deed as it was an obligation in the original deed from Pendle to Fields in Trust. So this is obviously why, if they're basically giving us the land, then they don't want to be left with that obligation. However, Pendle did, I presume it was Pendle that put them in originally, but I do have it in writing that the Borough Council are not expecting us to do anything. So, and it was in the original deed, and I think that's why they've just put it through. But they have stated that they wouldn't expect the council to.
It can't have been Pendle that put them there, because King George V, God bless him,
Become Borough Council, wouldn't it?
popped his clogs in, well, 38, wasn't it?
Well, it was certainly before 74, weren't it?
Oh yeah, well it was.
So it weren't Pendle.
It was 38 and all the abdication stuff.
Well,
So the panels are at the Pendle are.
well, is there anyone else can impose the condition on us besides Pendle Borough Council after we've signed this document? Well, I'm not sure that we're getting something imposed on us that's not there.
There are plates at the Skipton Road, and it may refer to. Nobody knows what they refer
They're not
to.
on the allotments, are they?
No. So
And that park's not ours.
No.
So they're not ours anyway. They're not on our land. That's. Yeah. Yeah. If there was something in situ on the allotments that had been erected 80 years ago or whatever, then fine, it could be in here that we've got to look after it forever and a day. But if there's nothing there, there's nothing there for us to agree to look after, is there? That's the bit I can't get my head around. Because as far as I'm aware, these things that they're talking about are not on the allotments. They are on the entrance to that park at King George's. On gateway to it. But if you've got it in writing, I think you need to print it off and get it in a gold-plated frame and put it in safe somewhere. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were they up there originally, and then when part was made, they moved them down? I don't know, and they became part of the wall. I don't know.
Yeah, this is basically just for a recommendation for it to go to full council, so we can get the approval to sign the deeds.
Yes. I don't think we've any option but sign it, have we? I mean, I don't think so anyway. Right. So that's going to full council.
Do we might need a proposer and a seconder for that, I think. Yeah.
Howard and Brian.
Howard and
Those
Brian.
in favour. Okay. We'll have to move exclusion of public and turn the
Town hall maintenance.
well, it's town hall maintenance, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, town hall maintenance then.
Yeah, so we have had Matt come in actually to do the clock today. So he has he actually said it was his fault, so he hasn't charged us this time. He was trying out a different code that he thought would be better because it wouldn't rust and it wouldn't but it wasn't strong enough, which he said, now I know why that I don't use that or I haven't used that before. So he's put obviously stronger ones up, and he said they'll be fine. So yeah, so that was one thing. The other thing is obviously we have the dehumidifier in the corner there, which is basically to help dry out the wall. Basically, when the downpipes were damaged, and they were damaged for quite a while before we actually got them replaced, over that time, the moisture has basically just seeped into the wall, into the stone, and it's just taking a while to come out, which is it's trying to come out, which is why you see the bubbles on obviously the wall, given that it's quite warm in here, so it is drawing it out. But so we're trying to increase the process by using the dehumidifier, but we have been told it may take up to 6 months. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else for the town hall. We're still waiting for the window for the committee room. Is actually being produced at the moment. So as soon as we have that, we need to get a scaffold up, and then it can be installed. So we're obviously waiting until we get word from them that it's ready, until we order the scaffold. So. I'm not actually sure. I think it's about maybe half a container in a week, I think. So it's not it is slow going, yeah. But it's strange because it's not if you feel the wall, it's not particularly damp. And it's obviously it's quite warm in here. It's not a damp room, but it's obviously inside the stone. So I don't know. Oh, I know in our house we turn ours on. It says it's like 80% humidity, and then we get a full thing out, and then no, it's ours. We actually bought it when we had the because we were hiring them in, but because we had so many leaks, we decided that it was more beneficial to buy our own than keep hiring them.
The window for the room at the back. We ordered it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we, technically that's going to end up being paid for in this year rather than last year?
Well, it'll be carried forward.
Right, that's the question I was going to ask. Are we going to roll that forward? Because if we don't, we're making this current year's the new budget even tighter, aren't we?
Yeah.
If we don't roll it forward, because it was highlighted that we needed it and we ordered it in last year. So I think we've got to roll it forward, haven't we?
Yeah. Yeah, anything we've got an existing commitment for, we will need to roll over.
Yeah, we'll have to do. No, no one else any questions on town hall maintenance then? No. Items for a future month's agenda.
Well, obviously we've got the town centre licence thing.
Yeah.
Anything else? No.
Right, the date and time of the next regular meeting. The The next meeting is 2 days before full council,
No, it's 2 days before the election.
before the election, sorry. It's 2 days before the election. And I'm mindful to suggest that we cancel that meeting and don't have it for various reasons. Whatever we agree at that meeting, if we did agree anything, wouldn't be able to be carried out within this current council as it's constituted at the minute, because it'll be a new council a couple of days later. Secondly, we could end up in a situation where, for whatever reason, quite a few don't turn up, we might not be quorate anyway. So my suggestion, if you'll all agree to it, is to cancel that meeting. So the next one will be after the May full council, when we've got a new FES committee constituted with whoever on it is still surviving amongst us out after the 6th of May. So I'm moving that. Does someone want to second it? Those in favour? Thank you. Right, now we've got to exclusion of the public, so we'll have to switch off.
Yeah.